It's me again. It's been a long time since I've done it in the car, and I hate to break it to you, but this is going to be the very last in the car, probably ever. Short story being that I start a lot of projects, but I rarely actually get around to finishing them, or even to be getting them to the point where I feel happy that I'm making progress. And believe it or not, this actually has relevance to what I want to talk about. I am a product of now this internet generation where attention spans are incredibly short, and the new shiny takes over my attention, and it's just been incredibly difficult for me to, get on a project, start a project, and stick with it when there's just so many things out there that I want to try. I'm not really sure if there's a way out of this particular paper sack, but for the time being, I'm going to essentially shut down all of my projects and all of my hobbies, more or less, save gaming and blogging on occasion at levelcapped.com. Tell your friends. And that does unfortunately include the In the Car series, but In the Car, of course, has a bunch of other issues, being namely, I'm a little more paranoid with our laws around here, that I'm going to get pulled over and I have to explain what the hell I'm doing. However, for this final episode, I want to talk about Pokemon Go, because it is now close to the beginning of August of 2016, and Pokemon Go has only been out for, I don't know, what, a month? Less than a month? And you really need to be under a rock on Mars to not have at least heard of Pokemon Go. I think that there's probably more people playing it now than there are not. I really don't know. That's anecdotal. It seems that way. Mainly because everywhere I go, I see people face down, staring at their phones. And you'd think, oh, well, Chris, that's nothing normal. 2016, right? People are obsessed with their phones. Yeah. But I've walked by people, and now I've taken it upon myself to kind of like stick my nose into their business to see what they're doing if I can. And there are a lot of people who are playing Pokemon Go. Or you'll walk by someone and you'll hear them muttering about it. My family and I went to a park up in Portsmouth, New Hampshire yesterday, and the place was just filthy with people playing Pokemon Go. We were sitting on a bench in between some Pokestops that had some lures attached, trying to just collect all the stuff that was spawning there. And a family walked by, and one of the older members of the family, said, all these people, basically as they were passing us, saying everybody's on their phone. And someone, else in the family mentioned, yeah, they're probably all playing Pokemon Go. I can't complain, I own up to it. Anybody asks, I own up to it. And the fact that we were out and about, walking around, the city, hanging out in the park, who cares? We could be inside in our air-conditioned living room, staring at our phones, I don't know, playing some stupid mobile game, reading news on social media, whatever. But instead, we're outside. And this is a fantastic thing. This is a fantastic thing because Pokemon Go has gotten a lot of press about the good things that it's been doing, right? It's been, first and foremost, it's getting people out of their house. And I mean, there's been so many electrons, not so much ink, but, a lot of stories about kids these days being enslaved to their screens, whether it's a tablet or a phone or a computer monitor or a TV. Ever since the invention of the TV, I'm sure that this has been kind of a staple, right? People being entranced by the boob tube. So, Pokemon Go, is getting people out of the house. Yeah, they're still staring at their phones, but you know what? The vehicle doesn't matter. They're outside. They're moving. They're going to places in their town they probably didn't even know existed. Landmarks, points of interest, all kinds of other places. That's number one. Number two, people are meeting other people. It is ridiculously difficult, even in the internet era in 2016, to find people who share your interests. Now, I mean, you could do it online, because you could join a Facebook group or, go to Reddit or whatever, and you can find people that share your interests. And eventually, you find people who you really click with, and you form kind of a, a more intimate group with those people. And the internet makes that really easy. But I have seen people on the internet asking other people, hey, other adults, how the hell do you meet people in your town? I mean, it's not just single people asking this, right? But adults who want to meet other people that share their interests, who are maybe one floor, one block, 2 blocks away from them. That's really hard. Part probably because people aren't leaving the house as much, but I mean, it's just something that has suburbs have kind of beat it out of us. The purported horrors of urbanization have beat it out of us. We feel safer in our homes. It's dangerous to go outside, or it's just difficult to get to a place where we can meet other people. If we live in the suburbs, we have to travel a lot. We don't have a car or whatever. All kinds of excuses. But Pokemon Go is alleviating that. Not only is it bringing people out, but it is bringing people together, right? So you get people who are coming together in a common space because everybody's at a gym or a cluster of Pokestops, and they're all hanging around. Everybody's staring at their phone, and of course you look up, and all it takes is one person to just start the conversation, and it snowballs from that point on. Basically, everybody starts to just go on together because now everybody's talking about the same thing. So you have a common interest. It's right there in your hand and in the hand of everybody else who's around you. Okay, so that alleviates that, and that's pretty spectacular, considering how much complaining has been done about people being less social and not going out and all kinds of other stuff. 3, ancillary good stories have popped up surrounding Pokemon Go, right? There's the shelters, right, that say, come on down and take some of our shelter pets for a walk as you go out hunting Pokemon. That's awesome. I heard a story about one shelter that offered that, and all of a sudden, basically, they had an avalanche of people who say, yeah, I like this dog, I'm not bringing it back. I'm adopting it. Right? People who are coming back, they basically had to ship in pets from other shelters because they couldn't keep up with the demand for adoption. That is fucking awesome. You've also got other stories about people who are saying, hey, look, if you're out in the city, go to a Pokestop that's nearby a children's hospital, because guaranteed there's probably one there. Drop a lure. The kids who are in the children's ward, give them the gift of Pokemon. Chances are they're probably playing anyway. So if they can get access, if you can do something, it's super simple. They calculated that for a business that wants to attract customers, and if they're near a Pokestop, that it costs on average about $1.14 US dollars a day to drop a lure to attract people to your area. Now, you're not going to be hanging out outside the children's hospital all the time, but for God's sakes, $1.14? You can't tell me that's going to break the bank as you're walking your ass out of Starbucks with the fucking barrel of coffee in your hand, okay? That's pocket change. And you can do something good for another human being. These are the things that Pokemon Go has brought to humanity, right? And it's worldwide. People are doing all kinds of crazy stuff like this that just people didn't do before Pokemon Go. All right, so there's the human interest stories, okay. But the problem is this. I read a story today that said that Pokemon Go seems to already be on the decline. And I mean, they were recounting all kinds of, statistics, and basically I'm reading all of this. I'm like, well, no duh. Because for one thing, they said that the number of downloads is slowing. Well, yeah, I mean, everything's going to have a saturation point where everybody who wants it is going to have it. That's why, you kind of roll your eyes when people started talking about how people weren't buying as many tablets as they used to. It's like, well, no shit. Unless you're buying a cheap-ass Kindle, right? You want to go for a big fat iPad, you're talking several $100s here, right? People aren't going to be upgrading that like every year. They're not going to be really upgrading that on Apple's schedule. The majority of people are going to stick with their iPad until either it becomes so obsolete it can't run anything, or it's going to break. It's really the hardcore adopters that, give you the impression that everybody's upgrading. But everybody who has Pokemon Go, everybody who will have Pokemon Go, probably already has Pokemon Go. So yeah, of course, you're going to see downloads slow. That was bound to happen at some point. And now they say that the amount of time that people spend in the app is decreasing. Well, maybe people are getting tired. I'm not going to discount that. But on the other hand, I know for one that I have become far more efficient in my Pokemoning. Other services such as oh my god, I totally dropped the name of it. Pokemon Vision. It's a god. Pokemon Vision. It's a service where it hooks into Niantic's API and gives you a map of the Pokemon in your area in real time, and you can log into that, and when it's running, every 30 seconds you can send out a ping, and it will tell you all the Pokemon that are in your area. That makes it super efficient to get a broader view of what's around you. So you don't even have to open the app. And if you're tracking, hits by account through the app or something like that, then you're not going to get those if someone's using a third-party service. Plus, a lot of people have gotten wise to the way that the app works. A lot of people catch, Pidgeys, Weedles, Rattata, you know what I mean. I don't think people are going after those anymore. I think people have kind of gotten their fill. So they'll log in, they'll fire up the app, and they'll see that there's nothing but Weedles and Pidgeys and Spearows around them, and they'll be like, yeah, whatever, and they'll shut it down. Okay, that's something that Niantic needs to get on, right? There are reasons why the adoption or the activity seems down, but it may be very well that people are getting tired of Pokemon Go. It is bound to happen. There's nothing we can do to stop that, because this is 2016 in the internet era. People have shorter attention spans now. Anecdotal evidence, but seems to be widely held anecdotal evidence. Everybody is caught up in the zeitgeist of what Pokemon Go was bringing to the table. Everyone saw these heartwarming stories about people coming together and doing good things for one another, and they wanted to be part of that. They said, what is so powerful about this application that it drives people who last week, were getting into internet slap fights over the stupidest shit, now rushing en masse through Central Park in a group of like 800 people to try and catch a single virtual creature that doesn't really exist in real life. What's so special about this? And a lot of people got caught up in it, and they played it, and they're like, wow, this is fun. But then, after a while, it becomes same, and people start becoming very efficient at it, and it starts taking up less and less of their time, and the less time that they're actually actively devoting to this, the more time they're devoting to something else. And the more time they devote to something else, the longer they devote time to something else, the harder it is to get back to something like this. And people drift away. I know, I've done it basically as a career, which is why I started this whole video off with, hey, I'm not going to be doing this project or other projects because, I'm terrible. I'm good at starting things, but terrible at seeing them through. I am a product of the internet era, as are, I'm sure, many of you. Nobody seems to be immune to this short attention span, and that's unfortunate for Pokemon Go, because not only is it going to take users away, leaving them only with the hardcore, the whales, they're probably the ones that are actually spending real money on these games, but it's going to take away all of the people that are doing the good things that Pokemon allowed them to do. And that really, honest to God, makes me sad. I saw someone's, sarcastic post saying, you shouldn't need Pokemon to go out and exercise, and yeah, that's true. You should just go out and, exercise, because exercise is good for you. And by the same token, we shouldn't need Pokemon to help us do good things for other people, and that is absolutely true. But we need Pokemon Go now more than ever, especially with all the crap that's going on here in the West, here in the US, with this stupid ass political bullshit, as well as everywhere else in the world. I mean, it is good. Pokemon Go has been good for people. It's been good for humanity. And someday people are going to lose interest, and they're going to drift away the way that they normally do in the internet era, and that's going to just be very sad. Because I don't think there's going to be anything else that can quite capture this and recreate this particular sensation. I hope to God that I'm wrong. But I don't know. This happened organically, and I don't know that you can engineer this. If we could, we would have a never-ending source of goodwill, and things would get done on the planet. But we haven't found it yet, and it took, throwing virtual balls at virtual monsters to get people to, behave like human beings. And I'm really going to miss that.